Good day, everyone.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me running things.
This is a courtroom, not a circus, so we're gonna calm down.
I'm sorry.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed.
This is the bottom line.
I'm excited to free fall into the limitless possibilities with we the people. So many are fearful of the law. They think it's something that works against them.
I think you need to begin to accept responsibility for your mistakes.
We are the people.
Rachel Quinn claims her ex put their 12-year-old son on a strenuous workout routine that landed him at urgent care.
All rise.
Mark Miller says their overweight child needed to beef up because he was being bullied at school.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Quinn versus Miller. Ms. Quinn, you are suing Mr. Miller for $650 for negligence. You say excessive force during a training session caused your son harm. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
And Mr. Miller, you say it was tough love to build resilience. Is that correct?
That's right, Your Honor.
All right, I'll start with you, plaintiff. What happened?
Well, Mark and I have been divorced for about 3 years, and we share custody of our son, Ethan. He's 12 years old, and he'd gotten bullied at school. Someone called him a butterball, that sort of thing. And so his dad decided to put him on a workout routine. He has a home gym. And, you know, I think he pushed him a little too hard. I picked him up from his father's house, and I just noticed he was clutching his chest, and I felt concerned. And, you know, several hours after we got home, it was still bothering him. It seemed to be getting worse. And so just out of caution, you know, mother took him to urgent care, and they said that he strained his pectoral muscle. They did some tests, and I took x-rays, and they said it was swollen.
What did you have him doing, Mr. Miller? How old is your son?
He's 12.
12, all right. Does he play sports?
He does not.
What did you have him doing? What kind of workout?
It's a well-rounded workout, Your Honor. It involves cardio and weightlifting and Russian twists, things like that. I can give you a list of the actual rundown.
You actually submitted evidence to the court. I can review that. Exhibit A is one of your plans, it looks like. Dips, curls. Yeah, I don't see anything here that looks excessive. A shoulder press, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, but with what kind of weight?
Well, it's weights that he works up to. We're not doing max out weights and you know, until failure.
So was this his starting workout? Did he just get started this week? Is this the first week start?
No,
How long did he work out before he got injured?
He had been working out for several weeks before that.
So he'd been with you several weeks before he pulled the pec muscle. Mm-hmm. And had he complained at all, Mom, when he got back home? Oh, I don't like this workout. Oh, Dad's trying to do this. What was his sentiment? Or was he feeling like, you know what? I'm getting stronger and ain't nobody gonna be bullying me no more.
Ethan's a people pleaser, but he's really sensitive. You know, he just wanted to make his father happy, and you know, he wasn't a big fan of the workouts, but he was trying hard to make his father happy.
So, Mr. Miller, a lot of this depends on how heavy of weight you had him lifting over these weeks. So when you're doing a chest press, for instance, which could definitely lead to some pectoral issues, how much weight did you have him lifting at 12 years old?
I mean, we started with 50. He couldn't lift that, so we, you know, moved down to 45.
Which is not light for a start, for a beginner, but it's really not that heavy.
It's not so much the weight. He pushes him. He wasn't paying attention to whether he was getting tired. My son's not the most athletic. You know, he's more of an artistic temperament. He's very sensitive. But like I said, he really wants to make his father happy. And, you know, his dad's always on him about, you know, seeing things through and finishing things. And, you know, he works him like a drill sergeant.
How did this come about? Once he was getting bullied, did Mr. Miller, did you say, you know what, come on over to the garage and start getting some workouts in? Or was this something that you felt was necessary? Because at the end of the day, teaching a child about health and wellness and strength training at an early age, I think is beneficial, right? It's something that he can carry with him throughout the rest of his life.
I agree with you.
And not end up being an adult at 40 years old lifting their first weight, right? This is important. I mean,
Yes.
Sean, this is a practice that I think serves youth.
Absolutely.
Whether they play sports or not. You would agree, right?
Yes.
You're in shape.
Coming up,
He was doing presses with his dad, and his dad was kind of pushing him and kind of, getting really into it like a drill sergeant. That's when he injured himself.
Is this something that you experienced when you were in a marriage with him?
Oh, yes.
Because I can tell that's where this is going.
Oh,
We
yes.
might as well cut straight to the chase, and instead of taking the long way to the truth, let's just go straight to it.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Rachel Quinn, who brought her ex, Mark Miller, to court over their son's medical bills.
So I'm trying to figure out, how did this start? What was the intro into, you need to start working out?
Well, when he entered middle school, before that I had noticed he had gained some weight. So he starts getting bullied, and I decided that he needed to figure out how not to be soft, to put it plainly.
All right, and that was what you wanted to make sure your son was feeling stronger and was actually physically stronger. So I want to go back to you, Ms. Quinn. So when your son would come home from these training sessions, how often was this? It was every day?
Well, we have joint custody, and we switch off weeks.
So these are the weeks when he was with you? Mm-hmm. And then on the weeks when he was with you, did you do any follow-up workout? Were you having him go to the gym or
we went
do
hiking.
home workouts?
We did. We went hiking.
Okay, you went hiking. All right, so that's good. So I can see from this evidence that there was a lot of text exchanges about you saying, Ethan got injured from your workout. He has a sprained right pectoral muscle.
Yes.
So at some point he came home and he wasn't feeling well.
Yes, I picked him up from his father's on Saturdays, like we always do, and I just noticed that he was kind of,
Wincing.
just kind of, armoring, holding like this, and he kept rubbing it and touching it, and I was asking if he was okay. He's like, I'm okay, Mom, I'm okay, but I could tell that he wasn't, and I had to kind of pull it out of him, but he finally told me that, he was doing presses with his dad, and that he had gotten tired, and his dad was kind of pushing him and kind of, getting really into it, like a drill sergeant, those were his words, and he felt like he had to keep going even though he was tired, and then that's when he injured himself.
All right, and so what happened? You called the doctor, or you took him to emergency, you made an appointment?
It was a Saturday, so I took him to urgent care.
Oh, you took him to urgent care. And what did you discover, and did you give that evidence to the court?
Yes, so Exhibit A has the medical report.
Right-sided chest pain after weightlifting, presenting acute right-sided chest pain. You reiterated what you just shared with the court. Mild swelling and tenderness. All right,
Yeah,
so bottom line is he had a strain.
Yep.
He had a very slight strain, and he had to lay low and not lift heavy for 48 to 72 hours. How do you believe this was negligence on the part of your ex-husband?
Well, he doesn't stop to check in with how people are feeling, He has this saying, pain is weakness leaving the body. That's what he always says, and
You don't feel like he was being sensitive to your son's feelings?
yeah, well, and he wasn't checking in, like, as the adult,
Is
as
this
the
something
parent.
that you experienced when you were in a marriage with him?
Oh, yes,
Because I can tell that's where this is going.
Oh,
We
yes.
might as well cut straight to the chase, and instead of taking the long way to the truth, let's just go straight to it.
He likes to squash people's feelings like it's his job. We'll
right.
just say that.
All right. So, Ms. Quinn, in your co-parenting agreement, arrangement, don't you all both share in the expenses related to your son? So wouldn't these medical bills that you paid be shared 50% by Mr. Miller?
I'm responsible for the medical bills.
Okay, you're responsible.
Yes.
Understood. I'm looking at these text messages, and this is why I knew this was about a lot more than just child rearing. And this is when the co-parenting issues become problematic, because both of you, I mean, look, there are reasons why you are not together. There's something about the relationship that didn't serve one or both of you, and therefore you are not together. However, you have created a child together. And what happens then are the issues of the relationship bleed into the parenting. And that is clear here, because you guys are going back and forth about the sprained right pectoral muscle, and you took him to urgent care because he was crying, and you are going on and on about how he's insensitive and how you believe he needs structure, and you're telling her to stop with the drama, and he needs to finish what he starts.
He thinks if anyone expresses feelings that it's being dramatic or drama, when it's actually just
too much
expressing your feelings. Some of us actually still have them.
How do you respond to this, Mr. Miller?
Ms. Quinn is saying that I'm not, sensitive to Ethan's, feelings, but what I'm more concerned about is if he's really sharing the extent of the bullying at school. Because from my conversations with the school, he isn't. It's much worse.
Okay.
I was in the military, and I've seen what happens when you raise soft boys. They tap out.
I don't want him to be soft. I just don't want him to be cold and insensitive and unfeeling like you. And I try to honor.
You're taking him to urgent care
the person
for
that he is. Mark.
Sore muscles.
I try to honor the person that Ethan is, okay? He's not like you. He's not a machine without feelings. He doesn't want to override his feelings. He's a very empathetic young man, and, he's in touch with his feelings, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make him soft just because he has feelings or because he doesn't want to do another rep of chest presses.
Are y'all in a post-marital counseling session? I've heard enough.
Coming up.
You have two very different ways of parenting. That's okay. This is probably more stress on your son than his slight pectoral strain. I don't know how people consistently go half on a child, but can't go half on a solution that would benefit the child.
You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Rachel Quinn, who brought her ex, Mark Miller, to court over their son's medical bills.
Let me say a couple of things from listening to this. First of all, for co-parents to end up in court, that's problematic. This is probably more stress on your son than his slight pectoral strain. The fact that his parents can't figure out how to work through this issue. My first thought is, I don't know how people consistently go half on a child, but can't go half on a solution that would benefit the child. That's not okay. When you get in situations like this and you have two very different ways of parenting, that's okay. I'm sure he gets a more nurturing environment from you, Mom, that's obvious, and he gets more structure and discipline when it comes to you, Dad. And you guys can look at that as a negative, or you can look at it as a positive, that he's getting the best of both worlds. The one world where he's not getting the best is at school, where he's being bullied. And as a person who was bullied, and I was, believe it or not, people can't believe it, but this strength and this confidence I have now, I was not always this way. I was the little nerdy girl in elementary school, and everybody wanted to beat me up at school. And what I was told predominantly by my father is that you only get rid of bullies when you stand up to them and you're willing to fight back. And that does not mean just physically. That also means mentally and emotionally. And that strength has to be encouraged and it has to be built, right?
Coming up.
Sure, Dad can be a little tough. That's okay. I'm glad Dad is tough.
You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Rachel Quinn, who brought her ex, Mark Miller, to court over their son's medical bills.
When they're in school, their mommy can't save them out on that playground, and it can be brutal. We have all been grade school age kids before, have we not? Yeah. Anybody else in here been bullied? Yes. And now I'll ask this, did anyone have to confront their bully in order to make that stop? I'm seeing people nod and raise their hand in the gallery. This is not something that is unheard of. And I am the mother to a son who I love deeply, and people will often say I'm very tough on CJ, but it's for a reason, because I want him to be sensitive and strong. You can be both in this world, and it's important that your son figure out how to do both, but also how to manage both parents. Sure, dad can be a little tough. That's okay. I'm glad dad is tough. I'm listening to this and I'm not seeing through these workouts or anything where dad was excessive, where this workout was so excessive that it would equate negligence. Did dad owe your son a duty of care? His son is his son too. I don't think he's just gonna be in this garage physically harming him. He did not testify to that, nor did you. You're more concerned about whether he's sensitive and he's not listening to him.
I just don't want him to squash his feelings.
I agree with that.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
Think about it. When you go to the trainer and you tell them, okay, I can only do 4 of these, what does a trainer usually say to you?
You're gonna do
push through,
yeah.
You can do it. Mm-hmm. This injury this pull is something that I think was a result of the training, but I don't think a result of negligence. And that's the legal difference here. The negligence is going to require a breach of a duty of care, that he acted unreasonably. He didn't act the way a reasonable father in the circumstance would act. And I don't see that. Sean, do you?
I don't see it.
I think he's a father trying to show his son how to be strong mentally and physically. And because of that, maybe the son did have a slight pull. And he will know next time, all right, this is an area where he's weak. We've got to work that differently. But he was in no way negligent in this situation. Therefore, my judgment is for the defendant and the plaintiff's claim is dismissed. Court is adjourned.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is dismissed.
She made a good decision. I offered to pay part of the medical bills, but she wanted the whole thing or nothing, so here we are.
Carmen will take care of it.
All right, gather your things and follow me this way.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.